see. We are live, I believe, on YouTube, on Rockfin, probably, on Twitter, on Rumble, hopefully. Been doing pretty good. So Rumble, there was a little while there where every now and then I'd think I'd have it set up correctly, and then I'd go and look at it afterwards, and something didn't work, and it's still on the 20-second thing. Been pretty consistent about getting that good. And there's the red button for Rockfin. And looks like we're live across all platforms right now. Everyone's a lawyer on X. Poland to extradite Canada's beloved Nazi, maybe, and Knives Out with Britney Spears. Here with Stella. Stella, thank you for joining me on this midnight drive time news blast tonight. I intended it to be like an hour ago, but, as I told you before the show, I continue to think I can finish something that takes 30 minutes to do in 30 seconds, and never have I ever done that quickly and then got all the stream set up. So thank you for being patient with me and sticking it out. Of course, it's in the middle of the afternoon for you, so you're not really up very late.
I'm not up late, and I do appreciate your consistency. So thank you.
Yes. So thank you, Stella. Yes, my consistency
Thank you for having me.
being late and starting on live streams. It's impeccable. So,
if you were on time, I would miss it.
I know. I realize now that I have to be a little bit late because nobody's thinking I'm starting on time.
That's right.
But I wanted to do
a wiggle room.
A fun show tonight for the most part. Nothing too heavy, because I want to say I got triggered by interacting with people on X. I don't usually engage in conversation with people on X who I know their minds they're either trolls or they have Trump derangement syndrome so badly that they just can't see anything clearly, or they have a Ukraine flag in their profile. But I decided to today, just as a little experiment, and I want to talk about it now. And what I discovered today, it's something I knew already, but it's a little bit worse than I thought, is there's a whole bunch of people on X who I believe most that I interacted with are genuine, who believe that they know, have full and complete knowledge about how the American justice system works. They think they're fucking Perry Mason in their minds, all right? Or Johnny Cochran, Abraham Lincoln, whoever your top lawyer is. That's who they think that they are. And yet they demonstrate in these arguments that they sit around all day on X making arguments to random people. They demonstrate that they actually don't even know that statutory laws exist or case law exists. That is completely foreign to them. Yet they believe that every argument they're making is sound, legal, and it's case closed, baby. And when you present statutory law or you bring up case law, they're like, huh? What's that? It's like they seem to believe that the justice system is at least the way it's supposed to work. I think they think this. I think they think it works where you recognize a crime the way that you recognize pornography, the way that it was found in that, I think, the Supreme Court case a long time ago, where you know it when you see it. And when they see Trump, they see crime, case closed with whatever fact pattern and hands down smoking gun that the media tells them, and they don't ever question it. And I knew all this, and we all knew all this before, but there was just some interactions I had that really surprised me about how, I figured people were aware that you're supposed to analyze fact patterns. You're supposed to use statutory law and case precedent and apply a fact pattern to that to make a determination on what you think the outcome of a case should be, not just your hopes and dreams and the fact that Trump did it. And I know I'm a little naive in saying that. It's just worse than I thought it was. And I want to tell you a little bit about. So here's what happened with my interactions on Twitter. And if something doesn't make sense, stop me. I'm sure something won't make sense. I got on Twitter today or X, and indicted was trending. And I'm like, who the fuck is indicted this time? It's not a Trump indictment. It's not a Hunter Biden indictment. What's the indictment? And I click on the trend, and it takes me to a news story about Trump. And apparently here's what happened with Trump today. Trump goes to a gun show in South Carolina. And he's talking to these gun owners. He's like, so you're like a kind of guy who's been into guns his entire life. And the guys, like, they all got shaved heads and like buzz cuts. And like, yeah, I've been in fucking gun. Fucking love them. And then Trump moseys over to this guy who shows off a gun that has Trump's face blazoned on the side of it, right? And Trump just loves it, you know. Anything with Trump's face blazoned on this. So if you want Trump to come talk to you, just find a random item, a baseball bat, you know, shave Trump's face into your dog, whatever. Just put Trump on something, and he'll be, I love it, it's beautiful. You must really like me. And that's what he's saying to this guy with this. It is a really cool looking gun. And so while he's talking to this guy, and he's praising the guy for making the gun, which is nice, probably made the guy feel real good. He's going, it's you must like me, and he's like, I want to buy that. I'd like to buy that gun. You know, not I'm gonna buy that gun right now. Here's some cash, hand it over. He's saying it in a way where he's kind of placating, but I'd like to have that gun. And so that is what kind of started the whole thing. And then the Twitter trend was really reinforced the indictment trend, because it was Trump's not supposed to buy a gun while he's under indictment is where the indicted trend came from. But it didn't really get established on Twitter until the aftermath of Trump being at this gun show happened, because there was it was like a sports play-by-play, except it was a post game, and it was done by Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, and she recently divorced and has a new boyfriend who is like the head of the Right Side News Broadcasting Network or something like that. And so they're doing like post-game commentary of Trump, you know, at the South Carolina gun show. And the boyfriend is like, well, Trump sure seemed to appreciate that picture of his face on that gun. Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, well, that was a Glock gun that he liked there, and he really did like having that face on his gun, and he put it in his hand, and the president just really wanted to have that gun. He's like, she sure did, Marjorie. And then it got real more flirty, and then they started like fucking each other, basically, while they're having this conversation. It was really weird. And
bit of dry humping.
It was a little bit of dry humping. So it's like they're having sex with each other, but they're both thinking about Trump holding guns.
So it's the opposite. Right. Talking about Trump.
Right, in the process. They're,
okay.
They're just talking about the guns. And
I do resent Trump and sex in the same sentence. Thanks.
Totally. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene loves talking about, she's like, that's a Glock Trump's holding in his hand, and he feels good in his hand. And she's like rubbing her boyfriend's chest at that time. And then at some point during their foreplay, her boyfriend goes, well, we've got confirmation. He's like grabbing her tits while he's saying this. And she's like, call me Boebert, call me Lauren Boebert. And he's grabbing her tits, and he's like, we can confirm on Right Side Broadcasting News that Trump did pick up that gun, right? And so that was the clip that was just shared everywhere on Twitter. Trump bought the gun, evidence proof 100%. Trump definitely bought a gun at this gun show, right? And so Trump's been indicted 4 times. This is the argument. And when you're indicted 4 times, specifically, everybody made the argument. When you're indicted 4 times, you can't buy a gun. I don't know why they said 4, because I don't think it stops at 4. But what they were saying is Trump needs to go to prison again because he illegally bought a gun while under federal indictment. That was one argument. Another argument was that Trump violated terms of his bond by buying a gun. We don't even know if he bought a gun. He didn't. But just the arguments people were making had no basis in actual law. And so...
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, and so people would make these arguments and say Trump is just getting... See, these people, I learned, think that there's a 2-tier justice system, except they think that Trump is getting sweetheart deals on these indictments, that he's being treated easy, and that no one else would ever be allowed to even be in the vicinity of a gun if they had a federal indictment. One guy even argued that Trump is not even allowed to legally hold a gun when he has a federal indictment, which is not true. There's no law. It's all shit that people are making up based on loosely listening to the news and reading headlines. So what I did was I decided to just post a court case from, let me see if I can put it on the screen and show it to you.
It's almost like they're sort of running out of ideas.
It's
really scraping the barrel for
like
ideas.
You're right. And what is, maybe they're seeing what can catch on. And the most minute thing than get people to obsess about something that just doesn't matter. I mean, this is any and everything. Trump stepped on like a bug. There's only a few. What's it called when an animal is gonna? I can't even think right now, but they're almost gonna die out. There's only like 10 of them left, 100 of them.
They're
left.
endangered.
Thank you, Stella.
You're welcome.
I have Joe Biden disease going on right now.
My sympathies.
Yeah, so it's like Trump stepped on an endangered roach and he needs to be indicted. It's like, how much can they keep people engaged and exhausted and all of this bullshit?
There goes his ESG score.
Yeah, right. So, all right. So here's what this article says here.
Can I just ask a question?
Please go ahead.
You said I might have misheard, but I thought you said they're talking about Trump in prison again. And did you mean he hasn't been to prison, has he? You just meant they're talking about it again.
Well,
is that correct?
He went into the Fulton County jail. He didn't go into the prison.
Okay, look, I haven't been following this. I must.
You're right. No, so you're right. He hasn't been in prison, but they think he should be indicted again. And for them, it's just like it's more evidence of his criminality and how awful of a person he is because he's trying to buy guns while he is committed a felony.
Okay, can I also ask what's his normal attitude towards guns?
Guns are Second Amendment. You got to protect the Second Amendment. He talks about protecting the Second Amendment and his policies and his forward-facing position. I don't know what he's been like in the past.
So he's not anti-guns then?
No, he's definitely not anti-guns.
Okay.
And so here's the article right here. This is from 2022, September.
I'm just an Australian.
Americans under felony indictments have a right to buy guns, judge rules. And this was a case about a guy who was on bail, like Trump. Trump's been bailed out, and so he's out on bond, and he tried to buy a gun, and they tried to charge this guy under this law, which I'm going to show you in a second, that would have made that illegal and like stacked on more time to any, just putting him in more legal trouble. And so I just post this link, right? And this is a case that it ruled that law was unconstitutional to try and prevent people from buying a gun when they're out on bond because you haven't been convicted of a crime yet. So you're innocent until proven guilty, so you still have your Second Amendment right. It's more complicated. I'm not going to go into all the details of the legal arguments and stuff, but so I post that, and like every single person I post that to, they go, no, wrong, wrong.
That's just the ladies.
Yeah, right. And they're like, you love Trump. I'm like, I didn't even vote for Trump. I'm just saying, I don't know what the answer is, but you guys are making arguments based on your fucking hopes and dreams here. What if you actually look at the legal process of it and the statutory law? So I show that, and then I was like, all right, well, how about I put what the New York Times, who actually, disagrees with all of these people in this instance, and let me show you here. Here's what the New York Times, and the New York Times is correct in their assessment of it.
I just love the way they're making it's like every single thing they do is a storm in a teacup when it comes to him. And all this is about is all they're doing is constructing history. That's all this is. They just need the players to come out onto the stage and make a few moves and say a few lines so that then they've got any kind of justification to construct some history so that in 10 years or whatever, a few years' time, they'll look back and say, oh, this president, he was a terrible man and he was indicted and he created these riots on January 6th and that's all it's about, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. And has it ever been more apparent? Well, I haven't lived all throughout history, but at least in our lifetime, that
I thought you were a Time Lord.
The people, I have a TARDIS out back. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. But
that's what she said.
The winners control history, and it makes you just rethink all of history.
Oh, well, yes, I've been doing that for a little while now. Post 2020, you start realizing, hang on a minute, and then you say it again and again, and then it becomes a daily thing. Hang on a minute.
I mean, you're absolutely right about that. It is the children 50 years, 100 years from now, what history are they going to read? Are things going to be separated? They're probably going to be segmented out. Some people get some history, others will get others. They might be completely blocked off from each other. Like, I'm
Look,
sure
with AI and everything that's happening, who knows where that's going to go, and who knows what that's going to do to history.
Yeah.
And how many images and everything that's going to be made up to depict this time, and it's all going to be crap.
Yeah, I'm getting like fooled by some of these AI images every now and then because they're getting
pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Some of those voiceovers, they're really hard to pick. You've really got to know, like they're getting harder and harder to pick.
And that's the thing. Most people aren't actively looking for it.
No, that's right.
So you're not going to notice it unless you're like actively trying to find it. But the New York Times said that under the Maine federal gun law, 18 USC 922, it's illegal for merchants to sell firearms to people who are under indictment for crimes carrying sentences more than a year. Indicted defendants are also barred from shipping or receiving any weapons that have crossed state lines. And then the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, who hates Trump and would love to say that Trump is guilty of something, says, but the statute does not appear to prohibit people under indictment from simply buying or possessing weapons. And that's their base kind of summary of the law. I mean, it's pretty accurate for one portion of it, but this is like a really, really long, fucking complicated law. But they are absolutely right. And so all of these people, they were blindly reposting this law. And then I would just say, well, the New York Times disagrees with you because I'm thinking, well, you guys love Maggie Haberman. And all of them were like, fuck her. New York Times isn't the law. And I'm like, I agree with you, but read the actual content because they're all posting this. And they're all saying to me, here's this law. And guess what? Trump's not allowed to buy a gun. And I'm like, it doesn't even mention the buyer in the fucking law.
Yeah, they post things, but TLDR, too long didn't read.
Yes, absolutely. All it mentions is the merchant it would be you can't sell it, and then it deals with shipping or receiving. Now that's where the law is going to get. You want to get into the minutia of it, the definition of what it means to receive and ship, and what cross state lines and all that shit. And the Supreme Court case is almost definitely going to find this to be unconstitutional the way that it used to be applied. But it just baffled me that I posted these things. I'm not trying to be combative with anybody. And every single one of them, high correlation of Ukraine flags. Fuck you, Trump lover. No, look at the law. I mean, he's guilty. And I'm like, first of all, didn't he buy a gun? Okay. They would not have let him buy a gun at the South Carolina gun show. They would have checked to make sure he wasn't going to get in trouble. So this is all stupid.
He wouldn't buy his own gun anyway.
Absolutely.
He pays people. He's got a golf club.
Absolutely.
He pays people to carry guns. He doesn't need his own gun. Look, if I was that guy at the South Carolina gun show, I would have said, certainly, sir, I'll sell it to you. That'll be $9 million. Thank you.
And Trump might have, he might have had to launder the money because he can't possess the gun. Right?
Probably sell a few children.
So a couple of the responses that stood out to me that I thought were, I was like, that's interesting. A couple of them I thought were genuine. One, I was like, oh, so you just admitted that you are a troll. This one person responded to me by, which one is that one? No, it's not that one. No, that's the Ukraine. That's the last one.
Can I read out a comment?
Yes, please.
From YouTube. This is from Easy Peasy Podcast. Shout out. Trump's basically a fence sitter on the Second Amendment. Okay. And I highly doubt this story will radicalise him how it should. Yes, I agree. And another comment, he doesn't just own one golf club. I think he's got a whole set.
He's got, yeah.
Yes, I'm sure he does. And they're all gold. Solid gold.
To what Easy Peasy says there, this could very well be some little propaganda provocation to push the question of gun control back into the narrative.
Absolutely.
Because they cycle through.
100%. So it's all got a name, and I mean, it's not just there for no reason. It's all got an aim, hasn't it?
Right. It's like a Rolodex of topics that they go through to keep people engaged and interested. But this one person,
bit of the narrative. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all the different stories that fuel the same grand narrative. But this one person, I think was a female, said that it may or may not be a crime depending on the future SCOTUS rulings. And that part's correct because this will go to the Supreme Court, the case that I linked. But then she kept saying the same thing. She kept saying, it is, however, a violation of Trump's bail conditions, which she just made that up. And she says any other American would be jailed for buying a gun while out on bail. So that is all her moral. So she thinks because that is what she believes morally, this is what I'm deducing from this, that should be the law, when the actual article that I linked to her, that she obviously read some of based on her response, involved a guy who was out on bail, who bought a gun, and who the court found legally bought that gun and was not jailed for buying the gun. So she says Trump was the benefit of a two-tier justice system after having read at least part of an article where another American was getting the same treatment that he might get if this hypothetical situation that they all assumed was true were to be true. And it just baffled me. I'm like, did you not read? I mean, you clearly read the article, but you won't accept anything other than what you determined to be true after you saw Marjorie Taylor Greene humping her boyfriend and saying Trump bought a gun. They want any and everything to be, like you said, it's just the smallest little thing. It doesn't matter. They want it to be evidence of a two-tier justice system that Trump is getting let off easy, and they're allowed to get away with it because they don't understand a fucking thing about actually applying things to case law and precedent. And the most eye-opening one, which confirms a lot that we've actually talked about before, was this guy who said this over here. And you'll notice the Ukraine flag when I switch the thing here. It's always the people with the fucking Ukraine flag. Mm-hmm. How bad are you of a person, I think?
I bet most of these people have never even heard of Ukraine before all this
no
started
fucking
happening.
idea.
They wouldn't know where it was. If you told them to point it out on a map, they would have had more luck throwing a dart.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So this is Charles Brown. It says Charlie Brown here.
Charlie Brown.
A fake name. but so after I posted that again, and I was like, look, the New York Times is citing this law that says that it's not, as certain as you think. He says, so I guess, so I'll say it again, as I had before, maybe Trump bought a gun and violated federal law, maybe not. I don't care if he's convicted of a gun charge. I don't care what Trump fans think, which I was not being a Trump fan, fucking posting laws and cases, precedent.
Yeah, just picking you up on something.
And he goes, I just want reasonable independent voters to be horrified by everything surrounding Trump. And that is the crux of all of this bullshit with these fucking people. They've been conditioned to, like I said, at least you admit that you don't care about statutory law and fact patterns, and you're more concerned with propagating falsehoods because you believe you have the moral high ground and you're justified to do so. And this isn't anything new, but just like experiencing it when a couple of people I interacted with, like I stopped and I was like, look, are you a troll? Are you actually not comprehending or reading what this is saying? I'm not trying to mess with you. And usually they would kind of short circuit and say something that like completely on a different subject, like cognitive dissonance, or they would just
sounds trolly to me. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Time
it is
wasting.
trolly. But it's also like, I think some of these people, their brains have seriously been like skull fucked into oblivion.
It might be Hunter.
Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, somebody said something about Hunter, too.
Hunter hiding behind a cartoon character.
Well, somebody said, well, Hunter Biden should be free then, after I said what I said. And I was like, you don't
should
think
be
those
free?
Are well, he's being indicted on gun charges, but it's completely
He's not
different.
in jail, though, or anything, is he?
No, he is free.
Nah.
Nobody's freer than fucking Hunter Biden. The guy doesn't wear
Yeah.
pants anywhere in public, and he masturbates
Nah.
anytime he has the urge. You could be in a fucking ice cream shop eating a vanilla cone, he start wanking it, and he's not getting in trouble.
Nope.
Hunter Biden's not.
That's my boy,
Yeah.
says Joe.
All right, so it's just, I don't know if you guys engage with these people. I try not to a lot because I know you're not going to get anywhere, but sometimes I do like to see if you can crack any of them, and I'm 0 for like however many times I've ever tried online. Right? In person, you can make progress, but you can't ever make progress with this fucking, these platforms aren't designed for that. It's a trolling platform is all it is. I was happy
This
to
is
find...
the thing. Like, most of the internet isn't even real anymore. So
It's not,
like,
no.
where do you, it's hard to know sort of what's real and what's not when you're engaging. It's best just not
really
to
is.
engage. Just put out. Put out.
Just put out. That's what I tell all the girls. Just put out.
That's right.
So
Make it
I was
mandatory.
happy that you did not hear about the Vladimir Zelensky celebrating and giving 2 standing ovations to a literal World War II Nazi who was 98 years old
No.
on Yom Kippur and not apologizing for it. So,
Okay. That sounds very sinful.
it's
Already.
fantastic. It really is. I'm going to show. I did play this on the show that I posted earlier, but still, I want you to see it because it's just so funny. And the development in the story is that Poland, who this guy's unit was celebrated for their willingness to slaughter Poles back in World War II. Poland is like, hey, that's a fucking war criminal, and they want him extradited. So the guy gets 2 standing ovations in Canada by Trudeau and Zelensky, who gives him a salute fist up. And then the next day, they're like, extradite that war criminal. And no apology from Zelensky.
Oh,
And you know what it does, according to the news? It just feeds in to Putin's propaganda that he's denazifying Ukraine. You know, the fact that the president celebrates a literal Nazi.
What, they didn't blame Trump for this?
I'm sure they'll tie it back around Trump.
So I'll figure that one out.
Yeah, Trump's probably buddies
Catch
with
up.
the guy. Where is this? That just made me think of Pulp Fiction when you said that. It's kind of random.
I
You ever
always try to
seen-
figure out pole dancing jokes to put into all these pole things, but no, it hasn't happened, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
Oh, gosh, a long, long time ago. So, no, I really don't remember it.
Yeah, well,
Very
there's
much.
There's a punchline that
Just
Uma
the
Thurman
basics.
tells to John Travolta that's ketchup. I can't remember the setup for it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I
where
really
is it?
should watch that again. I've got
It's
it
a great
somewhere.
movie. It really is a
Yeah.
great movie.
I just sort of stopped watching movies.
Me too.
Yeah, that was a few
Yeah.
years ago. I did watch V for Victory recently because the Discord group decided to watch that, so I thought I'd join in.
Oh, did you like it?
Oh, it's all right, you know. It's all right. It's just Hollywood.
Yeah. No, I didn't like hate it. I didn't love it like everybody loved it.
I think
But,
probably if I wasn't so post QAnon knowledged up, you know, I might have enjoyed it more. Sort of, I
Right.
don't know. I don't know.
All right. So I'm still looking for that clip.
Is that,
so
am I allowed to say? Did I just get you cancelled because I said that Q word?
it doesn't. I mean, QAnon's not gonna. Although the one video that
Just
the
never
first
know.
video I ever got kicked off of YouTube was Pizzagate, just explaining what Pizzagate was.
You just said it again twice.
I don't care. Apparently, YouTube is backing off on some of their restrictions about what you can talk about when it comes to the 2020 election and when it comes to COVID stuff, which some people are like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter anymore. That's why they're letting you talk about the 2020 election. And I'm like, literally, Trump's lawyers who advocated for challenging the election are being indicted and charged. So I think it does. I think it could be a 100 Flowers type campaign, perhaps.
Mhm. Yes, quite. I always think that about a lot of things, actually. Just on the subject of YouTube censorship, just quickly. I think they've shifted the focus. They seem to be shifting it now towards natural health, etc. And I'd just like to shout out Phytophiliac from our WTF forum because she looked into something earlier, which I do applaud. And she also listed a whole bunch of things that are now on the list of no-nos for YouTube. Would you like me to read them out?
Yes, please do.
All right. Thanks to Phyto. Okay. Promotion of the following substances and treatments that present an inherent risk of severe bodily harm or death. All right. Listen to this. Miracle Mineral Solution, otherwise known as MMS. A lot of people will be familiar with that. Black Salve. There'll be some people familiar with that as well. Said to be able to eradicate cancers and things. You got to be careful where you put it. Turpentine. This is another amazing thing. B17, as in the vitamin, which is amygdalin, which is peach or apricot seeds, because they apparently have a very small amount of arsenic in the kernel, I believe, which is, I think that's the thing that actually is against the cancer. Anyway, I should just read. High-grade hydrogen peroxide.
What?
I know. It's like H2O, but I think it's H2O2 or something like that. It's not far off bloody water. Anyway, colloidal silver. Colloidal silver.
Colloidal
I mean, that's
silver. Yeah, Alex Jones sells that a lot.
Yeah, it's just water with a bit of a charge put through it from, silver nodes put in there and a bit of a charge run through for a few hours, whatever. It's said to be quite good. Okay, ozone therapy.
What is that?
That's like the ozone, like I think it's sort of like negative ions, which are the good ones. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And they're sort of like, put into you like an oxygen tank sort of thing. Like if someone was on oxygen.
Yeah.
Look, don't quote me on that, but that's as far as I know.
It sounds like anything not really pharmaceutical related is so far.
Yeah, look, they got a whole bunch of things. Coffee enema, quercetin, methadone, over-the-counter chelation therapy. I'm not really sure what that is. Content that promotes use of ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine for the treatment of COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still on about that. So, that kind of thing. All the good things. Somebody did mention sunlight, but I don't know whether that was actually correct. But there's a whole bunch more that aren't in this list as well. So
yeah.
It's basically a topic of things you should look into, really.
And those are things that YouTube is still going to be striking. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay, so the whole
That's
thing
what they're more focused on now. Apparently, is more sort of like the natural health and basically anything that's not approved by them to be saying, "Yep, this is okay for you," or "This is not," because they have our health and safety as their prime.
Yeah. So they're not actually opening things back up as some people were led to believe. I think another reason, along with maybe 100 Flowers thing, for them to do that is they want to get in on some of the ad money of it. I think they always can.
Oh, no doubt.
So hopefully this works, because I can't find the actual clip, but this is the dude. He's wearing like I don't know, he looks like a pilgrim or something here in this outfit. This is the Parliament in Canada, and here he is making the announcement, and hopefully this is the right one where you actually see the guy, but I'll let you hear it.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians.
Should have been your first tip-off that he's a Nazi. Right there.
And continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Sure does. There's the first one there.
Does truth disappear when you get to a certain age?
There's Zelensky.
Get on with yourselves, honestly.
It's like super.
The standing ovation.
It's like a long ovation. It's crazy.
The rain's down in Africa.
This guy is
His
a war
name
criminal.
is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming.
What a guy. What a guy. And then
He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service.
Thank you. He killed all the Jews and the Poles. So they're thanking him.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man, I want you to see the look on his face. This is not the right one. Right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Maybe this one is it right here.
Can I just read something out while you're looking there?
Yes.
Lee's box has just mentioned, thank you very much, mate. Chelation therapy is when you use substances to remove heavy metals or other things from your body. To chelate means to grab, I think it should be, or claw, and some substances bind to other ones and carry them out. So, yeah, basically detoxing, I suppose, or binding to other things. So, yeah, thanks for that. That was in the back of my mind, but I would never have thought of that. Thank you.
Yeah. So they don't want anything that can actually help outside of their the pharmaceutical controls.
Yeah, anything that's going to take those nanoparticles out of your body. No.
Right, yeah. All right, so I'll just play the part where it cuts to him. This is the other one. So you'll get to see the old Nazi right here. All right, look, you see him right there? So he's putting his face to his eyes. I was talking about this earlier.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I feel like...
All those people I killed.
Like he may have thought that, like, because he's like a war criminal. I feel like he may have thought
Similar.
he was being tricked or something. And maybe that nobody there was, they all were going to hate him, and that everybody is loving him. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. Like maybe he thought he was going to actually die today, only to realize how beloved he is with this expression he's got on his face.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Get rid of all the, like, he throws all the Jews with all the sweat off of his head. I mean,
How many Nazis would think that they'd end up so loved?
it's crazy. So it's like you're a hero until
Thank you, Ukraine.
you become a victim or a villain, but then if you're a villain long enough, I guess you become a hero again, according to Parliament in Canada. And so the one guy took responsibility for all of this, as though this guy got this seat and everybody already knew who he was and nobody else had any idea. And Zelensky hasn't said a word about it, because if he did say a word about it, he either has to admit that he was celebrating a Nazi on Yom Kippur, and he was doing that with a guy whose unit killed all those Poles 5 days after Poland said they were no longer going to be sending weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, okay. So it's like, well, I'm going to get you. Let me just read out what Yom Kippur is too, for those who don't know. Yom Kippur is a Jewish holiday known as the Day of Atonement. Many Jewish people spend the day fasting and praying. Its theme centers on atonement and repentance. It's the 10th day of the month of Tishrei in the Jewish calendar.
Yeah. So Zelensky was confused. As a Jew, he spends the day honoring Nazis who killed Jews.
He just didn't know what to do, did he?
He got the wrong book, I guess.
Didn't get that memo.
It's just kind of wild. I think it's hilarious, personally, but it's also a little bit, maybe most of the people in there might have been unaware or just really stupid and just kind of like slapping their hands together like idiots at anybody you clap at. But
yeah, somebody starts clapping. I love doing that in crowds. I love being the first one to start clapping and just set them all up.
No, I love
bunch of sheep.
I tell people, like, if you're at a theater and there's not a lot of people at like a comedy show or something, the person on stage might actually be really, really funny. But if there's not too many people there, like if it's an open mic, nobody wants to be the first one laughing.
Yeah.
You know? So
just in case that wasn't really funny.
You sit in the back, and we used to do this for people who'd be on stage. We'd laugh if something was funny, and we would start it so that way other people felt comfortable. It's like clapping, though. It's just, I'll clap for if you're not the clapping, everybody's going to look at you like you're an asshole. How dare you, asshole? Don't celebrate this Nazi.
On Yom Kippur.
Right. And we also know
sorry.
Trudeau is blackface Trudeau, and these people are just fucking. I think they probably have a pretty good idea of what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, you know what? I just keep saying the same thing over and over again, sorry, but it is sort of like they're just fanning the flames. They're fanning the flames between religions and also, for communities like ours to chat about, distraction part. I mean, it's always multi-leveled, but this is a pretty classic religious type, division-y type thing, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Do you think?
Yeah. No, Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's your fucking Nazi right there. And
three names.
Nazi. All right, let's talk about Britney Spears. You know anything about Britney Spears?
The knives are out for Britney Spears, or you could say the spears are out for Britney knives. I'm not sure which it is really in this inverted world.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything much about her lately. I know that she had some MK past.
Oh yeah,
things,
she was. So I loved Britney Spears when I was when I was a kid, and everybody in my generation did, and I'm sure there was a lot of probably abuse that went on, which she was in the Mickey Mouse Club and all that shit, and then she ended up when she got older being on a conservatorship through her dad. And I remember when there was this Free Britney campaign a couple of years ago, and she finally got off of it. And I think the first show that we did when she got off of it, I said, look, I don't want this to be true, but I have a feeling that now that she's off of it, she's going to do nothing from here on until whatever happens that makes everybody say Britney should have been on that conservatorship. And it was a mistake. And that's what she's done. And she has started to do this thing where she does all of these, like, on a daily basis. And she has like 40 million Instagram followers. These stripper videos, basically, where she dances in her house kind of oddly in her bathing suit or naked some of the time. And she has like teenage kids too, like twin boys who don't live with her anymore.
Right,
but
yeah.
I mean, that's awful. Like if you're a teenager and your mom is Britney Spears dancing naked every single day on Instagram. I mean, everybody wants to go do homework over at their house. And so they had to move out and get away from her. And she just got a divorce because it was kind of crazy. If you read what happened, like she was abusing the guy, all kind of crazy shit. This is the worst example. This is the escalation of what Britney Spears has been doing, and to say she is getting the knives. You know, there's dancing naked, and then there is dancing with knives.
Oh, okay.
She's holding knives.
Gosh, she looks awful.
She does. And I have to say, like, those dogs in the background, somebody needs to take those dogs away
They look
from
very
her.
nervous. Is that dinner? Because
They
she's
don't
just
know.
getting ready to carve. I think.
Right. I mean, they could accidentally jump up and she could stab one of those fucking dogs. So she, like, wouldn't. Part of the divorce was she wasn't going to let her husband take the dogs. I'm like, somebody needs to get those dogs away from her. She can't take care of a dog.
She looks awful. She looks like she's had a really rough night out and woken up and rubbed her eyes and didn't take her makeup on the night before.
But she needed to dance with knives. Very.
And then, yep.
I don't even know.
While
what kind of-
hungover, goes and dances with knives. Great idea.
Obviously.
Oh, that's not her. Doesn't even look like her.
Ooh.
Oh, crap.
Now she's. I mean, this weird gyrations she's doing.
She looks like she's under some weird spell or something.
The music is kind of strange.
I know that music. That's I know that music. Damn it, what's it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, you keep talking, it'll probably come.
Well, I just so what's next? You know, is she going to be dancing with waving two guns around and firing them off in the house, choking herself as she dances? She needs to be. Something bad is going to happen to her, and it can be funny to like joke about the dogs and like all this shit, but like this is not going to end well.
I thought she dropped a knife there at one point. Obviously, she just banged them together, but I thought she dropped one. I'm thinking there's still 3 dogs there, isn't there?
One of them's dead
yes,
now.
Enigma. Thank you, Lee's Box. That's exactly who it was. I was going to say Deep Forest, but it wasn't. Enigma. Great music, actually. I used to listen to Enigma.
I mean, what if you're a high school boy and that's your mom? You know,
That's not a good look. Not a good look.
it's just.
What else you got, Mum?
I mean, they get made fun of all the time for it. People can be fucking brutal when you're that age, and
Yeah,
like,
and they don't care who's
they don't give a shit.
mum's famous or whatever. They don't care who she is because that's another generation.
Like if I were in high school and I were a dick, I would bring I wouldn't do it in school because you'll get arrested, but I would buy like a box of a couple of knives for her. I say, here's some knives, and they'd probably want to get in a fight with you. And I guarantee you, shit like that happens to them. She's not thinking about how she's impacting anybody else.
Is this the profile on her dating site? By the way,
Probably. Right? How many hit?
How
you
to
know what's
attract a
crazy
man.
is she is still getting hits. She's gonna marry somebody else who is probably like 5 years younger than her because they grew up wanting to bang Britney Spears, and somebody's gonna get the opportunity to, and they're gonna be the next person who gets hooked into this nightmare that she has become. There's something.
There's
going
plenty of
on.
people that would be turned on by this, but I'm just a little bit worried about. Look at her face. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a zombie almost. Look, it's almost like she's been done up for a horror scene in a
Kind
film.
of. Maybe she's trying to. She's like, I'd cast.
Is she
her.
auditioning for something?
Yeah, stab me, baby, one more time.
Yeah. I mean,
look at
you know,
these-
there's looking sharp, and then that's ridiculous.
What I don't understand is she is a good dancer, but I don't know if she's not hearing the same. Look at that fucking weird smile she's got there.
It's evil.
Like
She's under some weird. It's like she's under some spell. Look at that.
Yeah, she's like, I'm about to cut your dick off.
Are we
with
meant
that.
to be thinking this though? This is the other thing. It's like, are we meant to be thinking this? Is this just her play? Is this her being used by someone for this play?
Maybe. I don't
Stab
know.
me, baby, one more time. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
God. She's so sunburned. Put on some aloe vera for crying out loud.
Yeah, look, she needs something. She needs an ointment of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, I felt bad
Something that's
for
going
her.
to fix it.
Totally. Yeah, and maybe she can scrape the skin off with those knives.
I'm worried about her. If I was her mother, I'd be very worried about her.
Yeah, I think she cusses her mom and her sister in a lot of these videos, and her ex-husband, like the day that the divorce was finalized,
Mm-hmm.
she made an Instagram video, or a couple of days after. She made an Instagram video to her 42 million followers of her with, as the article put it,
42 million. Wow.
yeah, 42 million of her and like an oogle of hot guys. So her in a pool of random jacked up dudes that she called over that night. So most people when they break
So
up,
they're all gay.
probably, but maybe not. Also, maybe they're just dudes that she knows she can call to. Most people, their ex only has like 100 Instagram followers where they can put videos and pictures up, trying to make them jealous. She's got 42 fucking million.
Yeah. That's a bit of an issue. You'd want to sort of think about that before you got together with this knife-wielding woman.
Denver Attaway says she's auditioning for Murder Bed 2, Knife Electric Boogaloo. If you get something, I mean, give her something to do. I think you have that much money and you don't have to work. You can fucking stand around doing that shit all day.
I mean, they're serious knives. They're not like butter knives or anything. They're serious carving knives, you know.
No, yeah, absolutely. You can definitely.
Good to see she's spending a little bit more time in the kitchen.
Like, what do you think? I don't know what her parents are allowed to do, but you just wonder. She's like spiraling in the most public way.
Look, the first impression I got was it wasn't even her. It's just something weird about her look.
I think she's been replaced.
Well, they all have doubles. Like, I'm not talking clone. I mean, there's a possibility.
No, you're right.
I'm not even going out that far. You know, I'm just going because there are body doubles, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of Britney with her double at some point. You know how sometimes they show their doubles, or there's pictures of them. But, you know, I can't believe any images these days with AI. It's really hard to know what's real and what's not anymore. So
no, so the Biden. So it's sometimes it's like, is it a Biden body double, or did they just give him a bunch of cocaine?
Well, he's got retractable earlobes if it's not a body double.
Yeah, maybe he can take his earlobes off.
Which one's today? I think I'll wear the long lobes.
You know that he stood with that he went on the picket line today for the auto workers.
Good on him.
He's very brave. And
patriotic.
These reports are like, Biden's blowing my mind by joining the picket line. And then if you watch the video, you can't understand what he's saying. And there's like 11 people there, and you can actually see them moving people in behind him to fill in the camera framing because it looks empty. And they're acting like he did it. They control everything that he does. They don't ever actually put him around like real people.
Yeah, they just download that day's preset.
Yeah, pretty sure they just broke her brain. All right, Stella. So what I want to do is I pulled a few articles that I think that are kind of silly headlines that we can go to, and
gee, that must have been hard.
Yeah, right. It's an art to find the ones that are silly and maybe fun versus the ones that are silly and the world could be coming to an end. So we'll see.
Slight difference.
We'll go through this one together here. I'm going to show this one to you. All right.
So many are just AI written now too, aren't they?
They gotta be, man.
Oh, they are. You can tell. But although that's getting better and better too.
Headline.
Okay, we're back into the furry modes. Awesome.
Yeah,
This will be
I
fun.
love the furry guy. So you want to read the headline for everybody?
The headline is, I'm a teacher by day and a furry by night. Here's why you shouldn't judge me.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna disagree
New York Post.
with every fuck.
Okay, I'm not sure if... am I still live? Can someone tell me in YouTube comments whether I'm still going? Because... Oh. You guys on YouTube? Okay, cool. All right, I think Binkley has... Okay, thank you very much, Lee's Box. I wasn't quite sure. Binkley seems to have frozen. Hopefully he does know about this. But in the meantime, if I do take requests. I am tap dancing, but you just can't see me. So I'm doing my best to entertain you. And he's going to be coming back in shortly, I would imagine. He's left the building. He's probably sitting with Elvis right now, having a cocktail in the bunker. And I'm going to assume that he's going to send me a new link fairly shortly, just in case I get cut off. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Love your company. And I think it might be us out. I'm not sure. It's a new superhero. Furry by night. Yeah. Furry by night. Well, I'm just thinking back to the previous story of the collie dog costume. Can it get any worse than that? I really hope not, because I've just about had it with all this silliness. At least we're stopping at dogs at this point, I'm happy to say. I'm not sure how long it's going to be before people start doing gorilla suits in public. Perhaps dressing as budgies. Yeah. Oh, not too sure what to do here. So, anybody else got anything to talk about? Well, I'm just filling in a little bit of time here. Do I do the go from epidema again? No. Okay, I've just got a text from Brad. Here's a little bit of an update. My internet just quit. He's trying to fix it. All right. You want to listen to my thoughts all night? That's because of your consumption situation, I believe. Because thousands wouldn't. I'd actually really love to hear your thoughts at the moment, post fungus input, but it's an interesting place to go because you never know where you're going to head when you've. All right, I think we're going to be saved. Yes, thank you.
The
internet Lord let you back in.
Yeah, the whole internet just shut down, and it had to do like a. And thank you for holding down the fort still.
I was doing a tap dance, but it really wasn't helping.
And to make sure we're still live or not. What the fuck, dude?
I don't know, but we're still live on YouTube because the commenters got me through that sticky situation. Thank you.
Well, thank goodness. We might still be live on Rockfam. Let me double check.
You having some internet issues normally, or is it just
that hasn't happened since I first got this new internet. So I think what it was is I fucking we're live. I think that I was talking shit about the furries, and I think that was the problem.
You hurt someone.
Yeah, someone was listening. But we're gonna go back to it anyway. I don't give a shit. Man.
Call them the fuzzies. Let's call them fuzzies. Get around the algorithm.
Okay, the fuzzies. We're going to talk about the fuzzies. All right, let me get the screen situated.
Does that have another meaning over there? Let's just check first, okay?
It probably has some really dirty meaning.
Somewhere in the world there's another meaning to fuzzies, but we'll go with fuzzies.
I love that when somebody doesn't know, like especially if they're like really old and they don't know like what a word means. It's like it's a taint or something like that. They just say taint all day, and everybody's like, "You don't know what that means, do you, old man?" And he's like, "No, I know exactly what it means."
And then you start to worry.
Yeah,
is it the same thing as what I think?
Whole new spin on the afternoon. Okay, so we have this teacher who she's a furry by day, or she's a teacher by day and a furry by night. And her passion is not teaching her children; it's being a furry. And she says when she's not helping the next generation in the classroom, she's a 22-year-old. She dresses up in a homemade costume and identifies as a Dutch angel dragon.
Oh, okay, that's original.
Right, so
got to give her that.
It's a teacher. She's teaching children. She identifies.
Hang on,
as a
Dutch angel dragon. Now let me just check because I could be just out of the loop. Is that some sort of a? Well, is that a character, or is that? Should I know about this?
Well, there's a link here. I didn't know what it is either. It says, "What is an angel dragon?"
Manga or something.
It says there are many interpretations of what an angel dragon can mean. If you were to ask a common person what they thought an angel dragon was, images of feathered wings and halos on a dragon would probably come to mind. Unfortunately, it's ambiguous, so it can be confusing. So they don't give you any real... Oh, wait. Here's a couple. Here's an image. Let me show you this one. They do give you an image. This is what she does. This is what some people's children's school teacher do when they're in their free time.
I don't see why she can't combine it. I mean, the kids could just pat the pet all day.
Yeah, they would think it's normal. There she is. So that's what she dresses like.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like How would you
It's
describe
like a
that,
really
Stella?
screwed up rock wallaby.
Right. Really
Um,
long tail.
Chimera that's escaped in a wet market somewhere. I'm not sure. I don't know how I would describe that. It does look like a rock wallaby or a kangaroo type thing with
Yeah,
a
it
maybe
does
fox
kind of.
ears. Oh, that's a very screwed up costume. That's like bits and pieces of old furry bits all put together.
Yeah, it's a makeshift combination for. I think it'd be funny if somebody ran into like their kid's teacher at a furry thing, like they were secretly a furry also, and they found out that their kid's teacher was at a furry because for some reason the mask came off.
I guess then their kid would become the teacher's pet.
Yes, literally. All right, so
But dum.
she said that she's been hiding her fursona. That's what she calls it. Her fursona.
Her persona.
Yeah, due to the negativity that surrounds the subculture. You know, they're mainstreaming this furry culture shit. And furries famously enjoy
Yeah.
dressing up like cartoon animals, sometimes a sexual fetish, but more often as
always.
fun. Right. Listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for the day when a fairy comes up and tries to hump my leg. I'm not looking forward to that.
That hasn't happened yet?
Not as yet, no.
Well, you're
I'm sort of looking forward to it, but I just didn't really want to say that.
Well, I think it would be interesting for a minute unless it just didn't stop. You have to go to Dragon Con and you'll be just surrounded by furries, which is a comic. It's like a festival or like a convention that they have here for. I don't even know how to describe it, but there's like furry sex rooms where furries go and hump each other at Dragon Con.
Oh, like Burning Man tent, but just furry.
Yeah, for comic book shit. Yeah. And there's
I'm just making a note.
250. Yeah, put some notes down for we're going to need to have like
Send me a link, will you?
podcaster furry meetup. There's 250,000 of these people in the United States dressed up like furries. And she says she doesn't talk about it very much.
I'm sorry. Could you please tell me again how many?
250,000 furries in the United States.
Whoa.
Pretty soon they're going to be getting their own rights.
Wow. That's a lot of fleas, potentially.
Well, yeah, totally. Well, a bunch of these furry dogs met up in Germany last week to demand rights for people who identify as dogs.
This could start a whole new bubonic plague.
God, of the worst kind. Oh my God, look at that image of that person right there.
Oh, that's scary.
That's an adult person with a job right there.
Is that like one of those pets that nobody wanted to adopt?
Yeah, that's what. Do you do?
Euthanasia has something going for it. When I see
Absolutely.
things like that.
No, this is her. This is her costume. This is the lady who teaches with this weird. I don't know how to describe that.
That can't be. It's just getting sillier and sillier. They really are testing us, aren't they?
She picked it up in the winter of 2020 during the pandemic. All right, so she's had nothing to do, and
Garage sale.
she decided to put on a costume and go hump other people in costumes. And where does it get about? So she didn't want to feel weird, so she's finally embracing it. She's gonna lose her fucking job. Look at her putting the outfit on. God. Yeah, that's my social studies teacher right there. Yeah, I got an A in her class.
Oh my gosh. Look, yeah, that's odd. I don't know what else to say, really. That's just odd. Do people really spend their precious time that can never come back to them? They're spending part of their life being decayed away by wearing these things.
Those things are so hot, too. I mean, not hot, sexy, but like sweltering heat.
Yes, yes.
You think she plays the piano wearing that thing that she has back there?
Look, she could be doing any number of things in that costume. There could be a village inside there.
Yeah. So ever since that Japanese guy who dresses up like a collie dog,
it's really caught
there's
on,
been
isn't
more
it?
and more. He like paved the way for these people.
He poured the way.
Oh my God! Look what she tells people. She tells people the worst kind of sin in here. She says she wants people to get over the stigma. She says, "Please do your own research."
Of what?
What
How
the
to get
fuck?
over the stigma of furries. Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, if you're, I guess, but
Is there
who knows?
psychiatrists that deal with this? For the people who can't get over the furries?
I'm certain that there are furry.
Because I need to make an
psychiatrists.
appointment.
I would love to meet up with like a furry psychiatrist.
Please make sense of this.
I just wonder what
I'll pay you hundreds of dollars if you could just make sense of this, please. Please, anybody.
I'll pay for some of the therapy sessions. But it's the thing, though, they make it to where nothing is a problem, right? So everything is okay and should be embraced. So you can identify as anything. So it's good.
That's right.
That you're a furry. I wanted to hear more about her teaching. That's what I was more interested in. But
yeah, what sort of what was she, a young children's teacher?
She's a mentor for, I believe, elementary school kids.
I'd be extremely nervous about leaving my children there.
Why? What would be the problem, you think?
Well, without a lead.
Right. Yeah, you need to tie her to one of those poles so she can't get away.
This thing should be microchipped.
I'm sure they are microchipped. All right. No, that's the one I was telling you about, the call center in Germany. Let's look at this. We'll go one more here, then we'll go to the XR and do a few more minutes. But since you're in Australia, I want to know if you knew anything about apparently what a new trend is in Australia, which they're telling us that open relationships are on the rise. It did say Australia. Yeah, in Australia.
Open relationships on the rise as couples break from traditions. Okay, that's what they're telling us we should be doing.
Yeah. The number of Australians having sex outside of their relationships have increased according to new data.
What are they, interviewing people? How do they get these numbers?
For these furries, they sneak around and they collect all the data.
Yeah, that's it. They all sit at the base of the bed. You just think they're sitting on the mat,
hey, they think
to sleep.
It's a new animal.
They're bloody recording everything.
Absolutely. Affairs have been happening since the dawn of time, but interestingly, it's not just the married among us who are getting it on outside the bed these days. Talk about the stigmas and the cultural attitude changes. The number of people engaging in open relationships is on the rise as couples explore options outside societal norms. Is that something that you have noticed in Australia?
Not personally, no. And I'm not sure why they are pointing. I don't know why things would be increasing in that sense.
This is
maybe people. Yeah, maybe it's because people are meeting people online more, and it's sort of a little bit more anonymous. I don't know. I can't imagine going onto a dating site personally.
I can't either. It's just.
This isn't really about dating sites, is it? It's just about. Is it actually about cheating or?
Well,
yeah.
I think what it is about
or
people
just casualness,
lying to themselves. Like it says, unlike traditional partnerships where sex outside the family unit is classified as cheating or classed as cheating, those who open their relationships are allowed to seek intimacy with other people without ramifications. Bullshit.
Oh, okay, yeah, bullshit. It'll bite you eventually.
That's the fucking lie right there, without ramifications.
That's why polygamy doesn't really work. They say it does, but nah, it generally doesn't, I don't think.
And the guy, it's always going to be the girl who has more
hang-ups,
open relationship partners than the guy, I think.
Oh, okay, yep. Yeah, probably, yeah. But also there's going to be the women who have more issue as well, I think. I don't know, maybe that's probably not true,
guys actually. Don't want that either.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where people are heading these days. I just don't know. I don't understand how people think anymore. It's just, I don't know. This is just stuff that's training people to think things. I don't think. These statistics, where do they get them from? What, did they interview 3 people? I don't know.
Yeah, it says
do they stand on the street and just ask random people what they do in their sex life? How do they get these numbers?
That's a good question. I'd like to, they say 50,000 Australians took part in a survey. 1.4% admitted they were in an open relationship.
1.4% of 50,000 people.
But can't trust those results, I think. I think they're full of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, this is just brainwashing. That's all it is.
I saw this term the other day. I'd never seen it before, but there's a Democrat candidate who makes a whole bunch of money by getting her husband to fuck her on a live cam and getting people on Chatterbait to give them donations to go to a private room and do whatever it is that the person watching asked them to do. She's got like 7,000 followers. The Democrats are propping her up, and I think she's in Virginia trying to get her to win a House seat. And there's like video of her This is what the article quoted, saying, "Yeah, no, if you want to watch, you want to watch him do anal on me, I'm gonna need some more tips, some more donations." And then she talks about how she bangs 3 guys a day and her husband goes last. And this is a candidate for office that the Democrats are propping up. And she describes the same term that you see here, which says, "We started off as ethically non-monogamous from the beginning, after both having been in monogamous marriages that." For different reasons, didn't work out. Ethically non-monogamous.
I'm just trying to decipher that in my head as you ethically non-monogamous. That's an oxymoron, I believe. Depending where you stand, I guess. I shouldn't speak for everyone.
Yeah, they had a lack of intimacy in their marriages, so they decided to be in an open relationship. And one of the things that attracted them to each other when they met was that they were both open to different relationship styles. Okay, which maybe a guy, if he thinks a chick is hot, will be like, yeah, I'm into an open relationship. Then he realizes she's the one banging all the people. And
yeah, like just stay single.
Yeah, dude.
Stay single. What's going on?
So they classify them as primary partners. So they're number one. Cut culture. That's right. Easy peasy
primary
podcast.
Friends with benefits.
Right. I'm the primary partner. I go last every day, but I'm the primary partner. It's just so weird to me.
Primary partner. It sounds like a cut of meat.
Right.
Could I have a quarter of a kilo of primary? Yeah, I don't know. I
mean, what are they, fucking Vikings or something? Everybody just passes everybody around.
It's like nobody's looking forward into a future at all. Nobody's consequences are missing. I think that's sort of part of what they're molding us into. Don't worry about consequences. And it's do what thou wilt. You know, that's all very Crowley, Aleister Crowley. That's what they're heading, they're trying to force us into.
You know what these couples would be okay with, I think? I think they'd be okay with the furry teaching their children in elementary school.
They definitely would be, so that then they could go off and have their open relationship while they're being babysat by animals.
Yeah, so we need to pair all of these people
Fuzzies.
together. Fuzzies, excuse me. Yeah, we don't want to get kicked off the stream again.
You've done it now.
So they say, we've experienced new partners who said they're okay with this style of relationship. And perhaps they were
okay.
First. Yeah, right. This is
define okay.
Bullshit.
They're just saying that because they don't want to say, nah. They don't want to be square. Oh, yeah, I suppose I'm okay with it. It's like, yeah. Put them to the test.
Totally.
They won't be.
Right. Like this chick says she came across open relationships while studying psychology, and she found it very appealing. What, like it was like at her college or something? Like her professor was maybe a furry and promoting it? I don't know. The idea of being with someone for the rest of your life when you're only 23 is daunting. So I started exploring other options.
Well, students used to take apples for their teacher, but, you could probably just take them some dog food.
Double dildo? Oh, dog food. Excuse me. I'm thinking about the parents. The parents is what I'm thinking about.
Bit of dry food.
Excuse me. God.
A bowl.
There's the one good-looking swinger who's in a kind of good.
Oh, because they all look like. Is that a man?
I don't know what that is.
Sort of looks. That's a very bizarre neck.
Yeah,
I reckon that might be AI.
All right. So, yeah, Easy Peasy said ethically non-monogamous is bullshit, and I would completely agree with that. So,
yeah, it's an oxymoron.
All right, Stella, I have a couple more stupid, weird articles like this if you have time to stick around with me.
I knew I could rely on you.
I've got lots of stupid articles. She is kind of horrifying. For sure. I don't even know if she's real.
Yeah, I suspect AI on this one. She looks a bit AI-ish. She's got the AI filter on,
Absolutely. You know where you find all the weird articles, too? When you find one article like this on New York Post or Daily Mail, they have all these other articles like this, and you just find the weirdest fucking shit.
It's just getting weirder and weirder. I think AI is just being programmed to come up with the weirdest articles possible.
It totally is.
All right, so hit send.
We'll go to the Drive Time News Blast XR. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Stella, thank you for holding it down. And you guys in the chats, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
you. Patreon.com/propaganda report. Subscribe there today to get the DMB XR, where we will continue this conversation, and we'll see what happens with these weird stories. I haven't read them. They're new to us, and we're going to be reacting in real time. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your
day.
Yes, thank you, Stella. Thank you very much.